passed a bill that would have paid for the widening of I-55 in Madison County and Lakeland Drive in Rankin County last month. But the executive director of the Mississippi Department of Transportation, Brad White, tells WLBT he believes the $300 million it'll take for those projects will be written into a bigger spending bill before the legislative session is over with. A body found burned in the woods in South Jackson Monday morning has not yet been publicly ID'd, except that the person was a male. Jackson police say it also has not been determined how that man died. The body was found Tuesday morning shortly before 11 in the woods near Greenway Drive. No one has been arrested. A man who police say shot 2 security guards at Club Twilight back on February 3rd while he was being bounced has gotten a $250,000 bond. In court Tuesday, Jimmy Davis and his attorneys told the judge that it all happened because Davis was hot about being thrown out and that he has never done anything like that before. 36-year-old Jorge Rodriguez lists El Paso, Texas as his place of residence, but thanks to being convicted of trafficking drugs, his address for the next 34 years will be the Mississippi Department of Corrections and whichever prison he's sent to. He was found with 12 kilos of cocaine in the trunk of his car in Rankin County, and the prosecution proved their case conclusively enough for the jury. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in it.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Halfway through the week already. Welcome into the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Our good friend Morgan was not here with us yesterday. She is actually in Boston learning all the new tips and tricks and techniques to help us all look and feel our very best. So I promise you guys, once she gets back, we're going to plan a time for me to go over to Women's Wellness and come live to you from there so I can show you all the things that she and I have been telling you about. I know I say this all the time, but you're truly doing yourself a disservice if you have not been over to Women's Wellness. Check them out. Really, truly a one-stop shop, everything under one roof, your general wellness concerns, lab work, weight loss, hormone replacement therapy, telehealth medicine, facials, skincare, aesthetics, anything you can think of, body sculpting. I mean, truly, anything you can think of, they can do it, and they are great over there. It's, like I say, it's such a relaxing place, and I get in there and just don't want to leave. So y'all definitely go check them out over at Men's Health and Women's Wellness. They have a side for men, a side for women, and then right there in the middle is New Care MD for family. So there's not really anything that you can't get there. So y'all go check them out. Thankful that they are sponsoring the Lindsay Beckham Show, and we do have room. We definitely have room for more sponsors. So if you have a business and you need to get your business name out there, I'm telling you, WIAB listeners are some of the most loyal listeners, and they truly, truly patronize these businesses that we're so thankful for that sponsor the station and sponsor the shows here on the radio station on 103.9 WIAB. So y'all go check out all of our sponsors and let them know that you heard about them here on WIAB, that you heard about them here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. Definitely show them some love. We appreciate that so very much. We are streaming live today, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Clay told me he's finally gotten his Instagram up and streaming live, so I'm going to have to try to get in there and work on that so that we can stream there as well. I'd love to hear from you today. 601-879-0002 is the number. If you'd like to call into the show, voice your concerns or tell us your comments, what your thoughts are on any particular subject, really, kind of an open forum. 601-879-4648 is our text line. Now, I did want to talk about the fireworks that are taking place over at our state capitol. I'm telling you, I'm getting a little nervous here. Last session, the two chambers couldn't come together and agree on a budget. So therefore, session was dismissed without a budget. Without a budget for Mississippi, which is kind of a scary thought. So obviously a special session was called and the lawmakers had to come back to Jackson and figure out a way to work together and compromise on some things to get that budget set. That's one thing that, has to be done every year. Appropriations have to take place and they have to be able to come to some sort of agreement on a budget. Well, I'm telling you, I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like what happened yesterday. So, as they gavelled in over in the Senate, the clerk read a message from Governor Reeves. And so Governor Reeves has vetoed the disaster relief bill that was signed off on by both the House and the Senate. He claims that there were changes made to the bill after it was sent to him for his signature. Some hefty allegations there, even using the word criminal in his message. Now, the clerk read the entire message from Governor Reeves. This is live. You can go back and watch it on the stream. The Mississippi legislature has a stream on YouTube, and all of the House floor and Senate floor debates are streamed live. Most of the, or maybe all of the Senate committee meetings are streamed live. I don't know that they have that capability over on the House side for their committee meetings. Of course, that's why I go and listen for you so that I can report back. But everything that is done on the floor, you can pretty much find live. And so that's even something that Governor Reeves referenced in his memo that they read aloud on the Senate floor yesterday. He referenced the live streams and even the time marks of those live streams, but he specifically called out Senator Hob Bryan and Representative Clay DeWeese for allegedly making these material changes to the bill after it had already been sent to him for his signature. Again, he accused both leaders in both chambers of making certain changes to the legislation. He said this is criminal conduct. There is no provision contained in either the Constitution or any statute that authorizes the Senate clerk's office or any person or persons involved to make a material change. None. The plainly unconstitutional and possibly criminal act of the person or persons that attempted to change a material term of Senate Bill 2632 is unconscionable, Reeves wrote in his veto message. Again, he did specifically call out Representative DeWeese and Senator Hob Bryan by name, alleging that both attempted to alter the bill or to fix what they said was a clerical error after it had already cleared the legislature and been transmitted to the governor. Now, members of the Mississippi Senate have pushed back on the characterization made by Governor Reeves in the veto message. They argue that he confused a separate motion brought by Senator Bryan on March 17th with the Senate's motion to correct Senate Bill 2632, which was made by Senator McConn on March 13th. Again, in his veto message, it does list the dates and even the timestamps from the live streams that you can find on YouTube. So after this was read, and granted, this is a pretty important piece of legislation because this creates the local government's disaster recovery emergency loan program, which is administered by MEMA, the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, which will provide loans to local governments recovering from federally declared disasters. This was designed to help cities and counties bridge financial gaps while awaiting federal reimbursement, particularly from FEMA. This will allow the states to issue loans backed by repayment mechanisms such as pledged local revenue streams. And among its provisions, the bill requires repayment if the federal reimbursement is denied and allowed MEMA to oversee administration of the program, including the authority and fund management. So this is something that's pretty important right now, especially after the ice storms that many businesses and many homes, many people were impacted by here, right here in Mississippi, especially in the north part of the state. I think this is going to definitely cause a holdup on some of those loans that could have helped these people who are needing that extra support right now. Evidently, the error was one word, but I think that one word in the legislation would change the amount from 1% to 12%, and that's a big deal. So the word monthly was removed or added and significantly affects the cost structure of these loans. So it was actually Representative DeWeese that first sought unanimous consent over in the House to remove the word monthly, and he did characterize that as a clerical fix. Later that same day, Senator Bryan made a similar motion in the Senate to correct what he describes as a typo. You know, we had this issue last year with the elimination of the income tax bill. There was a decimal point in the wrong place, and I think maybe some people realized it, maybe some people didn't, but definitely the Senate did not realize it. And I think the House was able to get some legislation pushed through that they probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise had it not been for this decimal point that the Senate did not realize was in the wrong place. But my question is, who is reading these bills and approving them with these errors? Why are we seeing so many typos or grammatical errors within our legislation that not one single person is noticing as they read through it? Now, I went back and I watched yesterday's Senate floor live stream, and I listened to the clerk read Governor Reeves' veto and the memo that came with it. It was quite lengthy. It described the process of a bill becoming a law and how all of that works, and then what the constitutional rights of the governor of Mississippi are. It almost seems as though Governor Reeves truly thinks this was something done to get one over on him, as if he would not notice what they had done, coming back and changing something after it had already been sent to him for signature. He did not sound happy whatsoever. He did request that a full investigation be launched to figure out where the breakdown was here. Now, after this veto memo from Governor Reeves was read, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann had a few words of his own, citing the memo as malicious. He really came down hard on Governor Reeves and basically said that the things Governor Reeves had in his memo were false. They were false, they were untrue, and there was malicious intent. It's hard for me to believe that Governor Reeves would be malicious in his intent here, because he didn't just call out one chamber. He actually was talking to both. Both sides agreed on this, and both sides allegedly made changes after this was sent to him for his signature, which is unconstitutional. So I don't know if this is just really a breakdown. This is just miscommunication. People don't have the facts. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't look good. It's not a good look for Mississippi, and to see our elected officials, our statewide elected officials, fighting back and forth like this, it's embarrassing, quite honestly. I feel like it's embarrassing. Now, again, Lieutenant Governor Hosemann did say that Reeves' veto message of disaster loan program was inaccurate. He said yesterday morning that attacking and accusing a Senate staffer of committing a criminal act in a veto message is malicious, unnecessary, and false. Again, you can see all of this as it went down live yesterday on the Senate floor in the Mississippi legislature, but I've never quite seen the Senate gavel in and then fireworks go off the way that they did yesterday. It was heated. There were a lot of people who were unhappy with the veto memo, again, that was read aloud on the Senate floor. So lots of fireworks this legislative session happening over at our state capitol. If it wasn't enough that our two chambers can't come to an agreement on anything or seem to get along, now it seems like our governor is upset with both of them. So I don't know. Will we ever get a budget this session? Will they ever be able to agree on appropriations? Will a special session have to be called for the second year in a row to come back and be able to make that budget happen? Because it doesn't seem like anyone is able to get along on anything right now over there in Jackson. Should be interesting to watch how this unfolds and what we come out of this legislative session with at the end of it all. Lots more to talk about here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. Y'all stay with us. We will be right back here after this break on WYAB 103.9. Right back here after this break on WYAB 103.9.
WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Here's John and Corey Ravenstein to announce a very special bridal event.
If you're getting married soon, I want to personally invite you to Juniker's annual Bridal and Wedding Ring Show.
It's going on now through Saturday, April 4th at Juniker Jewelry Company.
Come shop the largest selection in the state of diamond engagement rings and ultimate wedding bands from our top designers.
Buy your diamond engagement ring during the show and get up to $500 credit towards both of your wedding bands.
Buy your wedding rings and enjoy free engraving inside your rings. And free layaway until the wedding with no finance charges.
Plus, enjoy 12 months, no interest financing for qualified buyers.
Save some money.
Upgrade that honeymoon.
The Bridal and Wedding Ring event at Juniker Jewelry Company.
3 big weekends now through Saturday, April 4th.
We'll see you there.
Juniker Jewelry Company. From anywhere in Mississippi, we're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and online at junikerjewelry.com, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repaired? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Huddle up, wing lovers, and double your count for less. on Wing Tuesdays at Buffalo Wild Wings. When you buy one order of traditional wings, get one for 50% off. No time to dine? Order for delivery and wing it up with a crew at home. Or pick up takeout when you're on the go. Limit one per order, not valid with any other offers. Additional terms and conditions apply. Huddle up for Wing Tuesday at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Benny Tate, president of the Congregational Methodist Church denomination in Florence, Mississippi, and the pastor of Rock Springs Church in Milner, Georgia, inviting you to attend one of our services this week. Find a church near you at cm-church.org and be sure and listen every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. for our weekly program, Apples of Gold from Rock Springs Church, here on 103.9 WYAB.
Come together.
Welcome back into the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. This is the Lindsay Beckham Show. I am, of course, Lindsay Beckham. We are streaming live Facebook, YouTube, and X. And of course, as always, the mothership, WYAB 1039. You can definitely find us on your radio or stream the show from WYAB.com. 601-879-0002 is the number if you would like to call in and voice your opinion or your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns today. 601-879-4648 is our text line. If there's anything that you would like to say in a text message today while we are on air. So our State Board of Education has revised some policy when it comes to Mississippi school districts' policy as far as audits are concerned. Now, this is something I've talked about several times. It's something I brought up in the debate that I had with Nancy Loom a few weeks ago over in Oxford, because we have a school district who's been taken over by the state now because they can't make payroll, Okolona. And then we also have numerous school districts who have not filed their income statements. They have not replied to these audits. So our State Department of Education has made some revisions, hoping that this will help 32 of these school districts who have not filed audits from the fiscal year 2023 or 2024. This would be a revised version of the Mississippi Public School Accountability Standards, which is done by the State Board of Education. This past Thursday, they said they are going to assist school districts in order to catch them up on the late audits. Again, I ask, where is the accountability here? I mean, I guess that's what the State Board of Education is hoping to see happen, that we can actually get these audits done on time, like legally you're required to do. So this discussion has really ramped up in the last year, ever since the Okolona School District cited their financial concerns. They couldn't make their payroll. They could not pay their staff, the faculty. The thing that they say they are shining light on is starting in November, because it really became emphasized to the board with the Okolona School District, because it was a complete disaster. This was coming from the board chair, Matt Miller. He said there's just no other way to describe it. A disaster. You got to love that, right? When our school districts and their financial capabilities are described as a disaster. So that's the purpose of these revisions. Now, the Okolona School District was placed into a district of transformation as a result of the serious financial impairments, including failure to make payroll, a pattern of fiscal mismanagement, failure to maintain adequate internal controls, failure to comply with process standards, number 4 and 5 of the Mississippi Public School Accountability Standards. So, Chief Accountability Officer Dr. Paula Vanderford described the need for the revision to this policy that could potentially lead to a downgrade of the district's accreditation status or even withdrawal. So, I mean, we're talking about taking away these school districts' accreditation if they can't get it together and get their financial affairs in order. Now, districts right now do have up to 10 days to exercise their right to a hearing once they notify their financial concerns. That hearing would take place with the Mississippi Department of Education and the Commission on School Accreditation. So, obviously, these audits became the huge topic of discussion when we saw so many that couldn't get their audits turned in on time. And of course, after the takeover of the Okolona School District. But there were 19 districts that had missing audits from 2023. That number is now down to 13. Of course, I don't know how much that's saying when the districts are actually required to complete these audits within 9 months after the conclusion of each school year. So the number of districts that are still missing their fiscal year audit for 2024 is 32. And then the claim there was that that's too many for the staff to even prepare for hearings or hold hearings to address because there are so many. 32 school districts in the state when they have 9 months at the end of the fiscal year still cannot turn in their audits showing their financial state. Now, the March 31st deadline is approaching for the fiscal year 2025. They have noticed that more audits are coming in quicker than they have in the past years. So far, there are 63 districts who have already submitted their 2025 audits. So I'm hoping that having this conversation and realizing that this is a problem is going to help in the future, or at least draw attention to it so that someone holds these districts accountable, that someone can step in and say, hey, what's the problem here? Is this a transparency issue? Is this a financial issue? Is this being understaffed issue? Why can't we do the job that you're required by law to do when it comes to showing your financial state as a school district? It doesn't seem like rocket science to me, but that's becomes my problem when we talk about accountability. Where is the accountability within our public school districts? There have been so many issues, especially over the last several years, and I can't understand it. We consistently pour more and more money every single year into Mississippi public schools. We're up to 5.3268, I can't remember the exact numbers, billion dollars. By far the largest percentage of tax dollars being poured into public schools in the state of Mississippi. And we've got 32 districts who haven't even turned in their fiscal year audit for 2025, 13 for 2024. For 2023, I'm sorry. 32 for 2024, 13 for 2023, and 2025 is fast approaching. It's a big problem. It is a very big problem, and I think that there definitely needs to be more attention, more people looking at these school districts and asking them why they can't get their jobs done. So not only do we have 2/3 of our fourth graders who aren't proficient when it comes to reading, and even higher number in math. 3/4 of our 8th graders who aren't proficient on reading at grade level, and even higher number in math. And now we can't even show where the money is going. Doesn't sound like they are being held accountable to me in the slightest. We got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. When we get back, we're going to talk about this huge lawsuit that Meta just lost millions and millions and millions of dollars because they aren't doing everything in their power to keep our children safe online. That's something I've talked about for years. It's been a very controversial topic. Supreme Court's gotten involved. We're going to break that down when we get back. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here. WIB 1039, The Lindsay Beckham Show. We're going to break that down when we get back. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here. WIB 1039, The Lindsay Beckham Show.
Keep it tuned here to 1039 WYAB.
Right here in our backyard, sellers trust Purple Wave Auction to move their equipment, from excavators and ag equipment to trucks and specialty trailers. Our no-reserve online auctions help local sellers turn iron into opportunity. You get a dedicated territory manager who knows your operation, your market, and your timeline, backed by nationwide buyer demand, local service, national reach, real results. See why more sellers choose Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com to get started today.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
CBS News brief. A jury in L.A. has just found Instagram and YouTube can be held liable for kids' social media addiction. CBS News contributor Caroline Polisi.
Today's verdict really goes to the heart of the engineering and the science behind these platforms. So we're talking about things like notifications, likes.
Everyone's got a story in long airport security lines. Some people missing flights.
They ended up taking off 5 minutes early. I did not make my flight. My flight took off and landed before I even got through security.
TSA's acting administrator says it's a dire situation. Iran has now laid out conditions for ending the war, rejecting a U.S. plan. CBS's Natalie Brand.
That latest statement from Iran, according to a state TV broadcaster, in which it's essentially rejecting the 15-point proposal by the U.S.
CBS News Brief, I'm Steve.
Smart business owners will tell you the best time to start a new business is now. Whether you're thinking of starting a new business or expanding an existing one, the perfect location is the Cotton Exchange Plaza in Flora. Over 13,000 cars will pass by your business each and every day on Highway 49. Space is available now, so what are you waiting for? Call the Cotton Exchange Plaza at 601-879-3503 to find out how you can expand your business today. The Cotton Exchange Plaza in Flora, where we mean business.
This ad is for all the guys who work hard and they expect their truck to do the same. At RPT Commercial, we have the accessories to help you on the job site. From names like Bedrock flatbeds, WeatherGuard toolboxes, Nap-High service bodies, ARE camper tops, deck storage solutions, and so much more. Stop by our new store on Highway 80 in Pearl and check with our expert staff and see what they can do to make the job just a little bit easier on you. At RPT Commercial, trucks live here.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with your host, Rick Hughes, every Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. here on 1039 WYAB. Join us every Sunday for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes, heard here on 1039 WYAB each Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m.
As Christians, it's our calling to be faithful to Christ and obedient to the Great Commission. Our heart's desire and prayer to God is that through our efforts, many would receive and rest upon Christ alone as he is offered to them in the gospel. I'm David Strain, Senior Minister at First Presbyterian Church of Jackson, inviting you and your family to join us as we strive to fulfill that mission. We're located on North State Street in Jackson. Times of our services can be found at fpcjackson.org. You can also hear the good news about Jesus Christ each Sunday morning at 9:30 on 1039 WYAB.
Venable Glass is your local glass expert, offering residential, automotive, and commercial glass. Venable Glass can do it all. Windshield repair, replacement of shower doors, mirrors, and everything in between. What sets Venable Glass apart from the rest? Unmatched reliability and customer service. Don't forget, tell your insurance company that you want to use Venable Glass. And remember, you do have a choice. Let Venable Glass work hard to earn your business. Call Venable's Ridgeland or Brandon locations today for a free estimate or visit venableglass.com.
Welcome back to the Lindsay Beckham Show. Again, we are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. 601-879-0002 is the number to the station if you would like to call in, give us your comments or questions, concerns, be a part of the show with me today. A lot of you know, if you've listened to me for very long, that I worked on some, legislation. Clay likes to poke fun at me, saying that I banned porn in the state of Mississippi. I, in fact, did not do that, but I did work on a bill that would require users to verify their age if there was explicit content. That bill did pass. There is an age of verification. And because of that, the largest source or provider of porn in the country, Pornhub, decided they did not want to offer their services in Mississippi any longer because they did not want to be responsible for that information or police that information, which is understandable. You know, my argument is if we didn't have such obscene, explicit content available to our children, even on school-issued devices, this wouldn't be a problem. Also helped promote the Walter Montgomery Safety Online Act, which would have made these large platforms, X, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Meta, have more concern, more policy to protect children online. Now, we saw a landmark ruling in a case yesterday, the first jury verdict in a series of social media child safety trials this year. And it's not looking so good for Meta. A jury in New Mexico found on Tuesday that the social media's giant platforms are harmful to children's mental health and imposed a $375 million penalty. Now, I'm sure that's a drop in the bucket to them. I mean, a tiny fraction. I think they are worth, in 2025, their revenue was $201 billion. But what this does is set a precedent and bring attention to this issue. Now, I think this was very, very smart. I think we have somebody in the comments even today watching online from New Mexico. Your attorney general did a great job. He put a team together and they built this case on fact. They created fake profile accounts as minors and then documented the sexual explicit messages they received. For years, social media companies have disputed the allegations that they are harmful to children or children's mental health. And there's law that has always protected them. But as we see more and more children hurt because of people who they have met or been groomed by online, things that they have become involved with because of these social media platforms, it's becoming more and more apparent that some responsibility is going to have to fall on these large corporations that control these social media sites. So again, the Attorney General in New Mexico, he built a team and they sued Meta in 2023. They posed as children and they documented the sexual solicitation they received as well as Meta's response. They are asking Meta to implement more effective age verification and do more to remove the bad actors from its platforms. This was about a 7-week trial, and the jurors sided with the state prosecutors who argued that Meta, which of course owns Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, prioritized profits over safety. They determined that Meta had violated part of the state's Unfair Practices Act on accusations the company hid what it knew about the dangers of child sexual exploitation on its platforms and the impacts on child mental health. Now, this is something I also think is extremely concerning when we look at AI and the advancements in AI. We've got a dad in Ohio who has reached out to us at Moms for Liberty, who has documented every single detail of his 12-year-old daughter through AI on a school-issued device, has had very explicit messages sent to her, sexual content. 12 years old, school-issued device, AI. So that's one thing that we are looking at is how do we protect children in this new world of AI? And as fast as it's growing, the more and more things are being put right there at our children's fingertips, our most vulnerable. I think we could definitely fix it for our younger elementary school age children by giving them pencils and paper again. Let's teach them how to write. Let's teach cursive. They don't need a screen day one of kindergarten. Of course, they didn't ask my opinion on that. Now, Meta has responded saying that they work very hard to keep people safe on their platforms, and they are clear about the challenges of identifying and removing bad actors or harmful content. They will continue to defend themselves vigorously, and they say they remain confident in their record of protecting teens online, is what was released in a statement yesterday. This trial started in early February. In the opening statements, the prosecution said that Meta has misrepresented the safety of its platforms, choosing to engineer its algorithms to keep young people online while knowing that children are at risk of sexual exploitation. Now, we hear, and I just even talked about the Walter Montgomery Act that I helped promote here in Mississippi several sessions ago. But for those of you who don't know who Walter Montgomery was, he was a teenager in the Starkville area who got wrapped up in one of these sexual exploitation schemes online. He met someone, was talking to them. I believe it turned out they were even overseas. It wasn't even anybody nearby. But as the conversation went, pictures were exchanged. And then the conversation took a very dark turn. And because he would not give these scammers $1,000 because he was afraid that they would release these pictures. That young man killed himself. So these are lives on the line here. Again, our young, our most vulnerable, our children, the ones who we are supposed to protect at all costs, their lives are at stake if we don't do more to stop the grooming and sexual exploitation of our children. If we don't put in more practices or procedures, if these platforms don't help do that, don't help keep kids safe online, then we're just going to see more and more instances of children losing their lives, just like Walker Montgomery right here in Starkville, Mississippi lost his. Now, his dad is a huge advocate. He travels and speaks out about the dangers and the harm that some of these online platforms can cause. My oldest daughter has an Instagram account, and now I'm logged into that account on my phone as well, so I see anything that comes and goes through there. And this has been at least a year ago. But she gets a message on her Instagram account from someone who looked a whole lot like Kendall Jenner, whose name was Billy, who wanted to be her friend. Of course, this is AI. But saying to my impressionable, young, vulnerable teenage daughter, hey, I want to be your friend. You can tell me anything. I want to hear all your secrets. Well, y'all know this mama put an end to that real quick like. Parents, you can't be too diligent. You can't be too protective when it comes to this stuff and your kids. I miss the days when there were no screens. I miss the days when you had a house phone. I still remember all of my, well, not all, I think maybe 3 or 4 numbers of my best friends who I would call on our house line. Of course, the only internet we had was dial-up, and you're always getting kicked off because somebody needed to use the house phone, the landline. Those were much, much simpler times, much simpler days, and our kids don't have that today. Instead, we're worrying about people who are going to exploit them in a sexual manner. There's some evil people out there in this world, and they know what they're doing. Parents, definitely, I urge you, stay on top of what your kids are doing on social media. It's a dangerous, dangerous place. We got to take our last break for the day, but y'all stay with us. We're going to be right back here on The Lindsay Beckham Show to wrap things up here at WIAB 103.9. To wrap things up here at WIAB 103.9.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Our flag was still there. The official 250th celebration flag is available at a complete flag source on I-55 North in Jackson. It's just one way you can show your appreciation for the greatest country on earth. Flags for all occasions. International and state flags too. Flagpole construction available. You can check it out at CompleteFlags.com. A complete flag source, I-55 North in Jackson.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to fit your budget. Stop by Pops Auto Sales today, where fair prices and superior service leads to satisfied repeat buyers. Or go to popsautosales.llc.com and browse our inventory and get pre-approved for zero-down financing with approved credit, with service contracts and warranties available. And guys, our truck inventory is one of the largest for any independent dealer, period. Pops Auto Sales, Highway 49 in Florence.
Here's what they're saying about Corcoran Door Company.
I'm going to yell out to one of your sponsors here, Corcoran Door. When the guy came out here, instead of just trying to throw a door up, he was looking at the way the house was facing. Man, with this double garage here on the south side, you might want to consider a insulated door. I came in earlier today about 2:30. The car thermometer said 99 degrees. The thermometer inside the garage was 82.
That's why they've been around 50 years.
Yeah.
CorkernDoor.com. CORKERN door.com.
Did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did. Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you.
Located in Ridgeland and Flora, come see me, Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's it's a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
The 19th Annual Township Jazz Festival is Saturday, April 11th in Ridgeland. 8 hours of live jazz, headlined by Grammy winner Nestor Torres. Also featuring the Tropicals from New Orleans, along with local favorites like the Vamps Southern Comfort, the JSU Jazz Band, and much more. And admission still free. That's the Township Jazz Festival on Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland. Visit townshipjazzfestival.com.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. Why is Rita Jensen the type of real estate professional you are looking for?
As a mortgage professional, I look for making transactions easier, and Rita Jensen with Remax Connection is a prime example of that. Her attention to detail, her strong communication skills really help us as a mortgage company make everything smooth. From start contract to close, she helps me.
RitaJensen.net.
Come together right now.
We are back here for the last minute or two of the Lindsay Beckham Show on this Wednesday afternoon. Someone mentioned in the comments to change the chat background. It's hard to see. I know, and I can't figure out how to do that. Recently, they added a way to also have portrait mode. And on the portrait mode, it looks like the background is black and you can see them a lot better there. And I was trying to play around with it and figure out how to change the background on the landscape mode, but I guess I'll have to ask Clay about that. I'm sure he knows. I just hadn't had time to play around with it. So sorry about that you can't read some of those comments. Thank you to all the new people who joined today, including our new friend from New Mexico. I'm so glad that you were on as we were talking about New Mexico and this case that your attorney general was just successful in yesterday. Huge win when it comes to the social media platforms and how they protect our children. Again, tomorrow, I know I've talked about this several times, but remind everyone, tomorrow afternoon is the huge school choice debate. course, I debated Nancy Loom one-on-one a few weeks ago in Oxford. We had a debate last week with Leah Ferretti of Mississippi Ready, who debated with the superintendents over in Tupelo. And then tomorrow is going to be the biggest debate yet. So there will be 5 panelists on each side. One side supporting school choice, the other side opposing it. I'll be seated with Gerard Gibbert, Russ Latino, Leah Ferretti, and Representative Jansen Owen, and we will be facing off against Representative Fred Shanks, Nancy Loom, and others. You do not want to miss that. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.